ladies and gentlemen, you are inside the Willis Show along with
Haven.
That's right. She's my new co-host. Saw her here last week. Going to be seeing her here a lot of weeks, and we met up in a mutual spot last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was cool. We were at a place called The Hive, which is adjacent to the Busy Bee there in Ladson, South Carolina, for a friend's birthday party. Mm-hmm. We were in the VIP. Mm-hmm. How did you enjoy the VIP experience? Because I know I did.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I tried the food and everything, but I didn't really eat that much. I was super busy trying to drink.
Haven was trying to drink. No, man, that was a thrill for me because like meats and cheeses and stuff like that. And I want to give a shout out to those performers. I know Tennille, and I wish I knew her last name. Gosh, oh, it's killing me. Over there that organizes that whole thing and brings food and stuff like that. And those performers, it's a drag show, and they are amazing. And being in the wrestling business, I guess it's very theatrical, and I kind of get into that. But I love the costumes. I love the performances. There was some really, really good stuff going on last night. And then when I went next door for one karaoke song, 'cause that's about all I'm good for right now. So, yeah.
I had a good time last night. That was my first time there.
It was your first time there? So what'd you think? I mean, about performances and stuff?
I mean, it was okay. I mean, I liked it.
It was okay.
But I really go there for that. I just went to see Crystal.
Okay.
Honestly.
All right, so let's. All right, now I'm gonna play devil's advocate. On a typical Saturday night, what would you be doing?
If I had the funds, I'd be out somewhere eating and drinking. But if it's just a slow Saturday, I'll be at home, just watching TV, watching Grey's Anatomy. That's what I'm on right now.
You are. Oh, so you're. What is that? Is that on Netflix?
Yeah, Netflix.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure I have my streaming services right, because God, I have like 10 of them. No, okay, so what, you talking about funds. Can we say what you do for a living?
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say that?
Yeah, I'm an independent contractor.
Well, so am I, but I'm broke. No, what is it? Okay, so what exactly does that mean?
So I deliver small car parts for mechanic shops.
What?
Yeah, from a warehouse, and I deliver them to mechanic shops.
And you get paid for this?
Yeah.
Good money?
It can be if I didn't have so many bills.
Oh. do we want to discuss that? Is it of the credit card variety or?
No.
No. Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, stay out of that.
Yeah.
I'm just.
If
I knew what a credit score was before, jeez.
I ruined myself with credit cards when I was in college.
Me too, and it continues on to this day.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just never-ending cycle. Mm-hmm. I don't understand credit scores, and I'll tell you why. We paid off a car, Denny's little Blueberry. Mm-hmm. I think you've seen it, and I can't see. My friends call it the Blueberry. It's called Sparky. We just named the car Sparky because it's a Chevy Sparky. His name is Sparky. So Sparky got paid off. My credit score dropped 75 points.
Wow.
After paying off the car. Now we're gonna have to get a credit expert in here or something, some kind of CPA. I don't know, whoever does that type of work to explain a credit score to me, a banker, something, because I don't get it. Yeah.
My score just dropped, I think, 20 points the other day, and I paid something off.
Is it the ratio between bad and good? Is that what it is?
I have no idea.
Because I'm curious to check it now that I have the Equinox, but I haven't gone back in.
Yeah.
Of course, I still got to make the first payment on that because I had like 60 days or something like that, to first payment. They gave me a little breaky, but I'm gonna pay it next. I'm actually gonna pay it next week, and then I'm on. I like the way Crew Chevrolet. I'll go ahead and give you props to. I like the way they do the payments. It's like you can split it, so you can pay it every 2 weeks instead of having that big, huge chunk at one time.
Right.
Because the Equinox wasn't cheap. But if I do weddings, hey, need something to haul equipment with. So, you ready to meet Prince Nana?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna take a quick. Well, for you guys, it's going to be a quick fade. And then we're going to get into the Prince Nana interview. This is the Willis Show with
Haven.
That's right. All right, we're back into the Willis Show. Haven is here with me today, and my brand new, spanking new co-host. She looks so shiny. Prince Nana.
Oh.
Man, it's good to see you, man.
Man, Willis, you're back up in effect and running. It's really, really good to see you. And I see you there with a beautiful new sidekick, my friend. Man.
Yes. We had to.
Is that the new sidekick?
We had to upgrade Will. He was.
Oh, okay, good. He
was ineffectual.
That's a very, very good upgrade. I can't wait for the meet and greet, my friend.
We'll work on that. Just starting off, man. I know you've been doing some stuff with your music and your production company, and we're going to talk about that. But I want to do a little bit of wrestling because I actually went back to.
You want to do a little bit of wrestling? Oh my!
A little bit
God.
of wrestling. Well, I went back to 5 months ago.
Right, but hey, I can't believe it's been that long. 5 months since I've seen you. You look like you've been eating good and living a good life. Your wife is doing a really good job. We have to make sure we give her a shout out on this show.
Well, my wife Denny takes care of me. However, we've discovered we're gonna try some low impact water aerobics.
Oh, that's awesome. Good. You got to try it. Be open minded, my friend.
Yeah,
that's how you have to do it.
Yes, sir. She had a shoulder surgery, and so she's still in recovery. And so I figure I'll go down there and maybe I can drop a couple of pounds because this extra chin is getting
yeah. That's. I had a problem with that a few years ago, but then I laid off on the ham hock. So you know what I mean? An American dish that was introduced to me on the road.
Absolutely. I'm going to let Haven start this one out because she actually asked me a question last night. We were at a mutual friend's birthday, and Haven, take it away.
Do you know Randy Orton?
I've met Randy. I believe I've met him. Yeah, I've met him quite a few times being on, the road with like a few WWE, type of situations that I was invited to. But yeah, he's a really cool guy. We're not tight friends, but I know that he's really, really good friends or was really good friends with my friend Rickling. Which is Ezekiel Jackson. So yeah, he's a really good guy.
Can you get me to meet him? We have the connections.
Hey, listen, after Will hooks up the meet and greet, all right, then we'll go from there, all right? Anything can happen. Anything can happen in this world.
Okay.
See, we gotta either I gotta fly up there or we gotta get you. New York's open now, right? Or getting ready?
No, it doesn't. It's open. It's what we call fake open right now. All right, we call it fake open. It actually opens officially on July 1st. They gotta get that July 4th money, so they're opening it up July 1st to get the July 4th money to close it down on the 15th. All right? It's all about the money, my friends.
That's what South Carolina did. They opened us up on right before Memorial Day to get that Memorial Day money.
There you go. Now they were closed right after. You see,
right.
That's how it goes.
And then they tightened up again, and now we're pretty wide open. Actually, it's good.
That's good. As long as did you guys get your shots and all of that other good stuff?
I have mine.
I'm not getting
it. Okay, you're not getting it. Some people don't want to get it. Yeah. Some people don't want to get it. Some people don't want to get it. I got my 2 doses. At first I was very skeptical. The second dose was exactly how, they said it was going to be. I had a little bit of like a headache, but I made sure I had some water and ate and just kind of went about my day making sure that, I was protecting people. So that's a good thing to know that I'm fully protected. I can go out there, travel, and get, back to normal living.
Yeah, I had a little bit of the low grade fever and some chills. I actually had the Johnson & Johnson shot, the one that's been kind
You
of
had the one
controversial.
shot.
Yeah, the one that's
Okay.
been kind of controversial lately. But that's what they were giving, and that's the one I took. So
I got the 2 doses of was it Pfizer? Yeah,
the
2
Pfizer, yeah,
Pfizer shots.
I got you.
So I got the Pfizer shots, and it's pretty shocking because I live in Brooklyn, all right, and where I live, there's a lot of it's a mixed culture area. There's a lot of different people, blacks, whites, but there's a lot of like urban, African American, Spanish type of people. And when I went to get my shot, most of the people that were on the line were white people from different parts of Brooklyn. So it was kind of pretty disappointing not to see a lot of the the people in the urban communities, getting themselves protected. And I understand a lot of people don't trust it and this and that, but hey, to each their own. But it's pretty, it was pretty disappointing to see that. But gradually people are getting protected.
Yeah. I don't take chances. We have a elderly mother-in-law that lives with us, and we also have I have a son that has asthma, so
Right.
I went ahead and took it. I mean, I happened to walk into Walmart one day and they were giving them out, and I was like, "Oh, just sign me up."
Yeah,
let's just get this done.
It takes time, right?
Yeah. Let's dive into the wrestling world a little bit. How much do you actually watch of the current product
of wrestling?
Yes.
Mostly all of it.
Okay.
But I do it in a way that I've done it for the last 15 years. And it's not for maybe like the last 15 years. When I first started watching wrestling, obviously I was a very big diehard fan. As I, began to pursue a career in the industry, I was more watching the matches for, more of a blueprint of how I would kind of lay down my matches and how matches should be laid down. Right now, I think, within the last 15 years, I've mainly watched what is trending.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And most of the other wrestling footage that I get is sent to me from different indie wrestlers that are nobodies in the beginning, but a year or two later, after kind of just, being in contact, seeing how they're growing, giving them, kind words of encouragement. And then, you see them on AEW and they let me know via social media, hey, I'll be on AEW Dark or something like that. As far as the main shows, I watch them to see what's going on. I've obviously been watching what they've been doing with Apollo Crews in WWE. A lot of people have, emailed me and contacted me in regard to his new gimmick. And hey, how do you feel about that? He's Nigerian. He's an African also. So, I'm not really mad at him at all. He's a really great guy. We've been friends for many years, for quite a few years now that I've known him. Hats off to him. A little upset with WWE, because WWE, I love that company. I wouldn't have gotten into the wrestling business if it wasn't for the WWE. Watching their stuff. I'm from the New York City area, the New York City market. So, that's what we had. I got introduced to, NWA and WCW later on, but WWE was the main thing. And just, I've been a huge fan, supportive, been to many events. When I was coming up as a wrestling fan in the day, my mom and my family, we weren't focusing on spending all of my money on wrestling, but I was. Any dollar that came in for me, I spent it on going to wrestling shows, WWE. Then I ended up spending, all of my fortune from, summer youth, from the summer youth program on becoming a wrestler back in 1996. So, do I regret any of that? No. The current product today, am I a diehard fan? I'm not going to say I'm a diehard fan, but I'm a diehard executive, because at this point I feel like I'm an executive or some sort of producer slash influencer slash personality in the wrestling business who can still offer a lot of value. But until that opportunity arises, I've got to keep busy, got to keep building my company and keep on sharing some of the ideas that I have that are in the works.
Right. Let me the reason I asked that question, because I now that the channel has grown, because it's a lot bigger than it was 5 months ago.
Congrats, my friend.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. I talk a lot to a gentleman out of Montreal. His name is Frank Jofo. I don't know if you're familiar with his channel.
I'm not familiar with him, but what do you know?
Jofo in the Ring, and we talk a little bit, and of course I talk with my contemporaries here at home. There's been a big negative, I guess what you call a reaction or negative response to current goings on, especially on like Monday Night Raw. And I was wondering if you just had any thoughts on that or what.
I don't even know what's going on. Put me on.
Yeah, it's boring. I
Wow.
I just tell you that is boring. Because they're in the 3-hour format now.
Really? Okay.
And
I mean, I thought it was 2 hours still.
It's still 3. It's 3 hours, and it has been that way for a long time. And I don't think the format's changed in 15 years. I think that's my biggest problem with it. You have a opening segment, promo, match, promo, backstage segment, promo, match, backstage segment. Michael Cole recaps everything. Main event. And it's rinse, repeat. It's like the wrestling version of Groundhog Day. You've seen that movie, right?
Yes, I have.
So I didn't know. Like I said, I didn't know how up you were on the product.
It's if it's not broken, don't fix it. At this point, it's if they've got you as a fan, they got you. That's how it just is. They got you as a fan, and you're gonna talk about it, whether it's boring, and you're still gonna watch it. And then they're gonna get a whole bunch of new fans, because you got to remember, we had who's the big time Spanish recording artist, Babs Bunny.
Bad Bunny, yes.
Right.
Yes.
So you got Babs Bunny coming in. So now we have a whole bunch of new eyes that kind of knew about WWE already, but never really invested the time. And now they're investing the time because they're seeing what they, something that's just not wrestling. Wrestling is not just wrestling anymore. Some of us are watching it for wrestling. Some of us are watching it to see the guys. Some of us are watching it to see the girls. Some of us are watching it to see the comedy. Some of us are watching it to see the production. Some of us are watching, you understand where I'm going with
Yes, absolutely.
So, if they try to break that and say, okay, we're just going to do matches all night long straight through, then what's going to happen to the rest of the fans? What's going to happen to these fans? So in order to keep it all inclusive and to keep the conversation going, that's why you see that it's not broken, don't fix it. The only time that I think they're going to have to kind of like really look into that is once they see that their competitors are using that same formula and it's beginning to work for them. If they're, bringing Babs Bunny onto their show, and the other company is doing the same format and they're getting more viewers, then there's definitely a problem and they need to change things. But
that's what I was going to bring up. Like AEW tends to break from that formula, I've noticed. And now they had a little slide back, but
how's their viewership?
Well, they had the presidential address they were up against last week, and I think they went down to like 800,000. But the unopposed by NXT, which moved to Tuesday, they did 1.2 million on the first night. So that's good in this day and age of streaming and these types of things. TV's a lot different than it was, back in late 90s in the Austin era when, we're 10 million between two companies, basically.
Right. It's definitely a numbers game and it's an experience game. AEW is still experimenting at this point, even though 2 years now or something like that. They're still experimenting, but they're definitely doing the right thing by keeping what they're doing consistent. They got the AEW Dark going on, and
they have 3 shows.
Yeah. What is AEW Dark? They have the regular main show,
and then they just started Dark Elevation, which is Paul White and Tony Schiavone mostly on commentary on that.
Oh,
one.
nice. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Tony Schiavone, who I met once or twice, I believe, maybe once. Really nice guy. Followed me on Twitter. Hats off to Tony Schiavone for that. Paul White, good to see him in AEW. And again, the it's all based on what the taste is of the viewer. It's simple to turn it off. And I think one of the biggest reasons why fans might be a little bored, or they're like, wow, this is the same thing over and over, is because there's not a live crowd there. So they've got to get used to that. Right. They've got to get used to that for now. I know they're beginning to open that stuff up, but the no crowd thing is really kind of making people think, oh, this is like a real whole act. But no, they're out there competing and doing it like they've been doing it for the last 20 years. Hats off to all the boys and the girls out there doing big things in the wrestling business. It's really good to see that happening. I've been involved heavily for the last 15 years. Sometimes, opportunities open and then they don't open, this and that. Luckily, I'm just, through the grace of God, able to continue to be involved in entertainment in the way that I want to be. So I'm definitely still enjoying myself and taking care of my health. That was the number one main important thing for me over the last 10 years, and right. Especially over the last 2 years. Making sure that the health is there, because health is wealth, my friend.
Absolutely.
You know that, my friend.
I know that very well. Let me throw it over to Haven real quick, and then we'll talk about your current happenings.
Thank God, finally. I've been waiting for her to talk.
Well, I'd like to get her involved here. And we were talking about current products and people complaining and stuff like that. Now, you told me off camera that you stopped watching around the time Shawn Michaels retired.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to tell? Can you tell us why? And maybe Nana has some insight onto why.
I mean, I watched it a little bit after he left, but it just started to get boring to me. I mean, he's not my favorite wrestler by no means, but I did like him. Mm-hmm. But I just thought it started to get too scripted, and I don't know. I just kind of fell out of it.
I think one of the main things. Okay, so now what brought you back into wrestling?
I don't watch it anymore.
Oh, you still don't watch wrestling?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
It's just I like.
All this is my fault.
I don't like okay. the new people coming in, because it's just I grew up watching a certain set of people, and then now there's not. I mean, some of them are still there, but like.
Right. It's the same. Basically, wrestling is very, very funny. It's like you got to remember, I was a kid. And I used to get the WWE magazine,
I used to do it too. I think I still have them. I have a whole big stack of them. Yeah. Right.
Like I had a whole stack, but you see, you're a girl, so it's like it was, I'm getting the WWE magazine, fuck it. Like for me, it was different. It was like I had to sneak. It was like you're reading WWE magazine, like, oh man, it was like I was an undercover wrestling fanatic freak, and it was just the weirdest thing, But I think there was a time in my life, believe it or not, and this is after I started training. I started training around 1996, and I was going hard training, doing everything, still going to school and still in college. And then I, got into the music industry also, 1997. And when I got into the music industry, that was very busy. Mm-hmm. I was working with Drew Hill. I was working with Island Def Jam Music Group. I was working with Kelly Price. I was working with Redman and Method Man. So I was working with, a top tier, global company, mm-hmm. which is Island Def Jam Music Group, Universal, Polygram. And that was the third record label I worked for, just to be more clear. The first one was Freeze Records Priority, which is, the company that put out the Reasonable Doubt album with Jay-Z. Will Sokoloff, shout out to Will Sokoloff, who hired me as a 15-year-old kid. But I got really busy and really interested in entertainment, so I kind of drifted away from wrestling. And the reason why I think is because I don't know. I think this was a subliminal thing. The opportunity was there in music, even though the opportunity was there in wrestling, because obviously I was training already. But the opportunity in music was there for me to work with some major executives and to work with some major artists. So I was in that industry for a very long time, making a very good living at a young age. I was making a lot of money, maybe more money than I ever made in my life. And one of my good friends, Eric Adams, he's a wrestler out of, I think, South Carolina, North Carolina. He was like, man, Nana, we miss you, because I was still training, but I wasn't really watching wrestling because it was the last thing for me to watch in my mind. It was like, okay, there's no money that, it's all about, making a living. Obviously doing something you love, but I still want to make a living. I don't want to be a bum. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, let me focus on this. So I kind of drifted away from that. And then, here I am sitting at my cubicle. And then I went into my boss's office, Wendell Haskins. He's now like one of the vice presidents over at the PGA. I went into his office, and on the TV was MTV. MTV was on the TV, and so was Mick Foley. I went into my boss's office, Wendell Haskins' office, and on the television was a Mick Foley on MTV.
Right.
And Mick Foley was doing some sort of a, I don't know if it was a seminar or if he was doing he was recruiting people, but a couple of the guys that I knew were on the show. So I was watching it. I was, oh man, I know these guys, and he was like, you wrestled with them? And I was like, yeah. And I just, he said, well, why aren't you there? And I said, because I'm here. And, and he was like, man, you gotta make sure you follow. He was one of the people who said, hey, you gotta make sure that you follow that dream while you're doing this one in the music industry. So, with that said, I got back into watching wrestling again, and then I was hooked again because I was like, okay, look at all these guys doing their thing, and I started seeing a lot more people that I knew. So I ended up becoming a fanatic again, and I was watching it to see, the production, to see the wrestling, to see, the storylines, and then, it just started to engulf me once again. So, I think that's, in Heaven, is it Haven or Heaven?
Haven. In
Haven's case, she had other things going on, please. Like, she's not trying to be stuck. You know what I mean? Like, she's not trying to be stuck watching, these guys. You know what I mean? If they really wanted to keep her stuck, they would have more people like Randy Orton around. I know what to say, Haven. You see? Look, I know what to say.
I mean, was that it for you? Was it the guys?
Or
was it just something else?
No, I liked it because it made me I wanted to be a wrestler.
What?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I think everybody.
This is
new. Because it was just so fun and cool looking. And then I wanted to meet Randy Orton, so I figured that was my way in.
You know what? It still is your way in, because one thing I learned about the wrestling industry is that no matter who you are, you have an opportunity in the industry. Don't a lot of people, oh, you got to be built, you got to have this, you got to have that. No, you just have to really have that drive, that talent. It's about who you know too. But outside of that, anybody, I've seen people sit there and say, oh, this person will never make it. Mm-hmm. And the same person that gave me the advice about that anyone could make it in this business is the same person saying this person is never going to make it. And now that person is the WWE Hall of Famer, just like him.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So and they act like they never said that before. But trust me, I in this business, the way that I got into this business, I remember everything. I came from a really, really, boutique situation. But at the same time, from a situation where there were a lot of guys that really, really took this serious. And I'm one of the guys that took, even though, my character might be a little bit clownish, You know, you may not see me taking the super duper bumps like everyone else. You may not see me doing the 1 hour matches and stuff like that. But I am one of the true legends of this generation in the wrestling industry. And, you know, the fact that I'm not working right now is definitely a travesty, but everything happens for a reason. So, you know, when that reason comes to light, you know, it's gonna be party time all over again, my friend. All right, I'm gonna make sure Will is one of my official nail cutters. All right, don't worry.
We still know how to find him. We still know how to
Of
find him.
course,
He's not too far away.
Of course.
Yeah, just if you don't mind if I throw in an anecdote. I mean, the whole reason I got into wrestling in the first place, and I'm not the most well-built person either. I kept getting told I couldn't.
Right.
And that was a motivator for me, you know,
to not do it. You know, with me, it was the same thing. Like I'm a small guy. People, you know, I was big. Yes, I was big at one point. All right, Haven, I was big. I was like fat. All right, I agree. But when I got, you know, just to be honest with everyone, all my years in high school and my college years, I was a regular, normal-sized person. All right, when I really started to pursue pro wrestling, I started going into the gym and, like, you know, started eating to gain weight. I wanted to be that size to take on that type of, like, you know, pain and pressure and stuff like that. You know, and I'm glad that, you know, I experienced that. But it was time to just get back on to taking care of myself and doing what I was born to do, and that's to talk. To use my voice. You know, everything, you know, about me is like my voice. That's what really made me popular in the wrestling business. Outside of the wrestling also, because, you know, I've wrestled all my life. You know, I'm proud of it. You know, can I jump back in the ring and wrestle now? Yes. You know, can I train a crew of people? Yes. Will they be successful? Will someone out of that group be successful? Yes. So, you know, and I have guys that I co-train that are on TV right now. You know, do I need to sit here and disclose them to you? No, because they're my friends. I train them the way, you know, that I was trained personally. And I would do that for anyone who's willing to sacrifice the time and take a moment to listen to someone who actually put some time into the business to create something.
Do you mind if we transition into music? Because that was
what it's all about right now.
Yeah, that was your second love besides wrestling, of course. Well, or they were probably tied.
They were tied.
And you're doing some interesting stuff right now. You sent me a track, and it was, like I said I was kidding around, but I said as a white fella from the South, even I know that's a banger. You know,
you're white. You're white? Jeez,
I am a white guy.
I thought he was a light-skinned black guy. You could have fooled me. But, you know, hey, you know, I'm really, really proud of this new project that I'm working on. It's basically called the Crook Melody project. All right, Crook Melody is the artist that we are pushing. All right, and that artist is me. You know, I've always written songs. I've always produced music. I've always sang, and that's why I was in the music industry. You know, even though when I was in, you know, the music industry, I was in the marketing department. You know, I was still a student of the game. You know, the same way that I was sponging everything up in pro wrestling, I was sponging everything up from people like Drew Hill. You know, Nokio, hats off to Nokio, one of the top R&B songwriters of our generation. A lot of people don't know who he is, but he's one of the top R&B songwriters of our generation. Hats off to him, you know, for befriending me at a very young age. We became friends at a young age. And you know, I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot from Kelly Price. I learned a lot from Hiram Hicks, Chuck Bone, Wendell Haskins. The list goes on. Tanya Brown, J Love from J Love Entertainment, Jimmy Jenkins. Quite a few people. And, you know, during the quarantine, I just had a lot of time to sit down and kind of, hey, what's going to happen? What am I going to do? This and that. Still, you know, I started the YouTube channel, the Prince Nana Show channel, which is doing fine. Got some interviews that we got lined up that we're going to get going soon. but I also wanted to be happier doing something else that I love, and that's songwriting and producing and executive producing and being an executive at my own record label. So right now, we're putting out My Last Act. It's a compilation of songs. We're putting all the singles out one by one, and then soon we'll just put it all on a compilated album called My Last Act. And it's a collection of R&B, hip hop, rap, heavy metal. Not heavy metal, but rock, alternative rock. And I'm just thankful that all the fans who just kind of tapped in, they're tapping in quick. Like my following for my music on Spotify is like bigger than my following on Twitter, and that's
wow.
And that's
you got a pretty good Twitter following too.
Yeah, and that's in a 2-month span. So like that's because of the the popularity of the song Earth Angel, which was co-written by a good friend of mine called Andre Locke. So anyone that's out there, if you're a music lover and you just want to hear something different, go on Spotify, add me to your playlist, Crook Melody. All right, Crook Melody. Just go ahead and search that. I think I have a little something for everybody on there. And a lot of people in the wrestling business, they already knew that I was involved in music. I always produced my own theme songs.
I was going to ask that, but go ahead.
Yeah, my theme song at ROH, the most recent one, was produced by Grammy Award-winning producer Jimi Kendricks. And we had some Brooklyn-based artists on there. And my original theme song was Drugs by Lil' Kim.
Wow.
That I just kind of picked up, but over the years of being in the wrestling industry and in the music industry, I was actually able to kind of like let, Kim and her people know that I was using that, and I was becoming popular on the wrestling scene with that. And then I remember a couple of years later, she ended up doing Trish Stratus's music. So it was, it was kind of interesting, for her to hear that, hey, wow, there's a guy using your song in the wrestling business. And then they kind of tapped into the WWE to do the Trish Stratus theme. So that was cool.
Because they wouldn't take any ideas from anyone else.
Please, I always speculate about that stuff, but you know what? It's like it is what it is.
I kid. Right. What my favorite Ring of Honor theme was? It was Kings of Wrestling. I just thought one was so cool. You didn't have anything to do. Did you have anything to do with that one or no?
Was that the one that I was using for HD-Net?
It's a KOW Kings KO.
Oh no, I didn't have anything to do with that one.
Not that one.
That one was that's Chris Hero, right? Chris Hero's.
Yeah, Chris Hero and Claudia.
Yeah. That was produced by. Oh man, I forget the guy's name, but he was a really good Queens-based rapper. I forget his name though. Yeah, I'm forgetting. It's going. I think it's Emilio something. I forget his name, but he was a really good. Chris Hero is really into hip hop, so he has a really good ear for hip hop and so on and so forth. So he was very involved in his theme music. But yeah, music plays a really really big role in my part in wrestling and just in my life. Period. So to see people streaming the music, to see people sharing it and people actually enjoying it, and actually to be working with publishing companies right now. Through grace of God, I'm just blessed to be in the position that I'm in, and still getting interview calls like this one.
Right. So, I mean, dude, a lot of people call you for entrance themes now because there's a
no. Like,
there's a spot open. Jim Johnson's gone. They've got other people. They might,
you know what it
somebody.
Is. Now, forget it. It's so easy to make a track. That's why they got rid of Jim Johnson.
Yeah.
It's so easy. It's so easy to make a track right now and pay someone a couple of dollars or just to license a song. Right. WWE wants to buy a song from someone. All they've got to do is pay them $1,000 and then give them 10%, royalties, and then they'll be happy. So, hats off to Jim Johnson, one of the great producers of our era. I call him outside of WWE. I'm talking about just producer. Like, he is one of the greatest producers. He's just like Babyface. He's just like track masters like Swiss Beats. He's someone who has left an impact on the world with the music that he's created, like the Undertaker's music and
yes,
Shawn Michaels music and like all these iconic productions. So hats off to Jim Johnson. I was a big fan of his throughout my career.
Yeah, he really was. Though I have a funny story about that. I don't know if I should. I don't want to call him out. I don't want to say it.
Hey,
let's just say there was another wrestler, and he happened to notice he was he's like, oh man, my theme's cool, and then he told me he listened to another track, and he goes, is Jim Johnson really a genius, or is he just pulling stuff from off another song? Because it did sound similar.
That's what it is.
But we all borrow in the business. You know how it is.
Right. Right.
So I'm trying to think of how. Okay, I know something I've got to get in here that I did not get in here last time. We were at a Ring of Honor show, me and my friends, in Charlotte, North Carolina. And if you could do me a favor and just call Jason Scott a fat pig one more time.
Who, Jason Scott, the fat pig that I met in Scottsdale, Arizona?
No. He's from Charleston. He was up in Charlotte.
I know. It was the pig fat. I remember him. Pig fat. That was his little name that we used to call him. Hats off to him. How's he doing these days?
He's doing well. He's a good dude. He's a really good dude.
That's good. I love, just not to leave it on the side. I just want, Haven and everyone to know, like, the wrestling industry is so exciting now and it's so all inclusive. It's entertainment. If you watch and put it on, you're gonna get a chuckle. You're gonna hear some music that you like. You're gonna see something. You're gonna see a lot of stuff that you didn't see before. And I think that's what's good about the wrestling industry now, that it can still put a smile on your face. And I think the thing that kind of like makes it bad is that there are fans that just don't understand that part about it. They don't understand that, hey, listen, it's just entertainment. You know what I mean? And once people grab that, and they take charge of what's going on in their personal lives instead of being so involved with what's going on with wrestling, I'm being serious.
No, I understand.
I think we're gonna have a lot less people who are depressed, and people who are looking at other people and trying to be them. Be yourself. The biggest blessing, right? The biggest blessing that for me, and I think for everyone that's just alive right now, that has all their hands and they can see and their feet, is that we're alive. Being alive is a blessing. Don't get me wrong. There's some people that are alive that are in very, very messed up situations, and I pray for those people because when I go through rough things, it's like, what are you beating yourself up over? There's someone with no feet. There's someone that can't see. There's someone so that's what calms me down and puts me back into my place of humility. I think I said that word wrong.
Humility. Humility is
no humbleness.
Humbleness.
Whatever. Yes, it puts me back into that.
I just want to mention one thing before we wrap up.
Right.
I think you hit on something. You kind of circled around it, but I think you were hitting on something. The whole thing with the pandemic, it's really brought out, I believe. First of all, I don't think the show would exist if we didn't have the pandemic. Right. It sort of brought out the creativity in a lot of folks because you couldn't go to work, or you were limited in what you could do. Some people worked from home and stuff, but I know a lot of people that have started YouTube channels. They're into art, they're into music and stuff like that. If all tragedy aside, if there's one good thing that's come out of this, I think it's that people have learned to adapt and tap into their creativity, which I think is wonderful. So, I always try to look at some positives in this, and man, I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. You've always been one of my favorites, man. I'm glad we've got to know each other a little bit. That's just awesome for me. So
absolutely, I watch your updates online, and I'm very happy and proud to see, where your channel is going. Haven is going to be a very, very great addition. All right, because she's like someone that's not going to be biased to the wrestling business. She doesn't care. She's going to say how she feels. Like you put on a match for her, she's like, I don't like it. You know what I mean? And you're right. During the quarantine, I learned how to make General Tso's chicken. All right, I learned. I learned how to be my own engineer. I learned how to be my own mixer. I become, an executive, production house. And that's what my business has always been for the last 15, 20 years, but I actually needed to sit down somewhere and do it. And the quarantine allowed me to do that. So thank God for that. I'm just happy that everyone is staying safe out there. Rest in peace to all of the people, including my uncle, Nat, who passed away from COVID. Rest in peace to all those people who passed away from COVID. Keep your head up, ladies and gentlemen. All right, because if tough times don't last, tough people do. And we just gotta remember that it's a blessing to be alive. Don't forget to follow me on Spotify, Crook Melody. All right, Melody. Add my music, Haven. I better see you follow me, Haven.
I don't have Spotify.
All right, add it. All right.
Okay.
All right, you're gonna love it. They have a free edition, and then also make sure everybody you follow me on Twitter at Prince King Nana. That's where you see real-time updates of what's going on. If I got a record deal, if I got a pro wrestling deal, if I got my new publishing deal, or if I had a new baby, all of that good stuff you're going to see on my Twitter page at Prince King Nana, also on Instagram as well. So Will, it's always been good talking to you. Go easy on the ham hock sandwiches over there.
I will. You know what?
All right.
I hope when I see you again, I've slimmed down some. How about that?
And make sure you use some of my music on your show, like The Hustle. All right. It's The Hustle. Look for Crook Melody, The Hustle.
No, wait a minute. Can I can use that?
You can totally. Anyone online, if you want to use my music, go ahead and use it on your YouTube shows.
That's amazing.
Is copywritten. You can go ahead and use it. It's absolutely okay to do that.
I would be absolutely honored. I will. The Hustle, Crook Melody, Prince Nana. Also, the Prince Nana Show on YouTube, guys. Don't forget.
That's right. Make sure you follow me on there also. And, and keep on looking up for my updates, because you never know when I'm going to pop up at a ring near you or pop up at a concert near you.
I hope one day you can pop up maybe at a Legends fan fest or something where maybe we could finally get together and meet.
You know what? Those things scare me.
Really?
Yeah, because then you see all these great legends that and then they're like all like, messed up as, oh gosh,
Oh no, don't say that.
No, I'm being serious. Like, I don't like seeing that, but at the same time, I might pop up just to come and buy some autographs, not to actually stand there and do autographs. Because, I noticed something. When I go to those events, people don't come to me for autographs. They want free shit. So it's like, you know what? I'll just stick to my fans online who are purchasing. And that's it.
There you go. All right. Well, Prince Nana, hey man, it's been great talking to you again. Thank you for doing a follow-up interview with me.
Don't forget to set up my meet and greet. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes. We will. Somehow we got to figure this out. We'll get together. We'll get this thing going. And,
there you go.
And I will send some garden shears over to Will.
Wherever
he is, so he can take care of your stuff for you.
I'll hire him for at least 3.5 days to do that. So this way it could supplement all the income he's lost since you fired him.
There you go. You too. Thank you, Prince Nana.
Bye-bye, Haven.
Bye.